वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णो वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णो वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। श्रीमद्भगवद गीता अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः। अर्जुन विषाद योगा। Pranams from Dr. R.J. Kalpana. Welcome to the study of the Bhagavad Gita. In this session, we will study chapter 1, Slokas 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. Let us look at Shloka 8. Bhavan bhishmascha karnascha krupascha samitinjayah ashwathama vikarnascha somadattistataiva cha. Yourself and Bhishma, Karna and Krupa, who is ever victorious in battle, and even so Ashwathama, Vikarna, and the son of Somadatta, Bhurishrava. Duryodhana gave his teacher his rightful due by taking his name first in the order of warriors, for Dronacharya was renowned as a disciple of Parashurama, from whom he learnt the art of warfare and the use of weapons that was not just functional in the material dimension, but was able to pierce the celestial dimensions as well. As the commander of the Kaurava forces after Bhishma, Dronacharya waged a fearful fight and held his position for 5 long days, but in the end was tricked by Yudhishthira into believing he lost his son Ashwathama, and therefore he sat in meditation to renounce his body when Drupada, nursing an age-old hate, directed his son Drishtadyumna, who struck Dronacharya and severed his head. But by then the soul had already left his body and illumined the entire region of the sky with a brilliant light. Bhishma, the true inheritor of the Hastinapura kingdom, being the rightful son of King Shantanu and the river goddess Ganga, who asked a promise of Shantanu to not question her activities at the time of the child's birth, and then went on to drown 7 of her children. In deep grief of losing 7 children, King Shantanu broke his promise to Ganga and tried to prevent her from drowning their 8th child. Ganga smiled sorrowfully and said, "The 7 children were 7 Gandharvas, celestial beings who were cursed to be born as humans, and whom she released from this mortal dimension, while the 8th child was an incarnation of the 9th Vasu, and that child was named Devavrata. Ganga takes her son Devavrata and leaves the kingdom of Hastinapur, leaving King Shantanu shattered. But Devavrata is once again introduced into Shantanu's life after he comes of age as a bright, fearless young man. Shantanu is overjoyed at having his son back, and he soon turns his mind to acquiring another wife, a fisherwoman, Satyavati, whose father refuses the alliance on the grounds that his daughter's children will be denied the throne. So Devavrata takes a pledge that he will never stake claim to the throne and he will remain ever celibate, so he will have no sons to stake claim to the Hastinapur throne either. It is ironic that he stayed alive long enough to see others fight for the throne of Hastinapur, and thus he came to be known as Bhishma, the Terrible, for he took a most terrible woe that rent the very heavens. King Shantanu, delighted at being able to wed Satyavati, gave Bhishma the boon that even death would be powerless to kill him without his consent. Bhishma, a lifelong celibate, the very embodiment of flaming energy and a master of the scriptures and the science of warfare, Bhishma was a great soul who possessed the knowledge of the infinite and was a hero of the highest order. He held the position of chief commander of the Kaurava army and led a fearsome fight for 10 days when he was brought down by Arjuna standing behind Shikhandi. He spent the rest of the war on a bed of arrows, but enlightened them all by generously sharing his inexhaustible store of knowledge. And when the sun started on its northern course, Uttarayana, he gave up the body of his own free will. Karna was the first-born son of Kunti, the mother of Pandavas. When she was a young maiden, she served sage Durvasa, who blessed her with a divine mantra to invoke any god. Intrigued, she invoked the sun god, and Karna was born as a consequence. Horrified, Kunti placed him in a box and left him floating on the river. Adiratha, a charioteer of Hastinapur, picked up the box and brought up Karna as his own child. Born with a natural gold armor and gold earrings as a gift from his father, the sun god, Surya, he trained under Parasurama and Dronacharya and became a warrior of unmatchable powers. Duryodhana crowned him the king of Angas, and Karna became famous for his bravery and his charity. On the eve of the war, his mother Kunti approached him to claim him as her son and tempted him that if he fought on the side of the Pandavas, she would ensure that the throne of Hastinapur would go to him and he would be crowned king, since he was Kunti's firstborn son. Karna refused to leave the Duryodhana camp on principles of loyalty which he held dear. On behalf of Arjuna, Indra, the god of the celestials, assumed the form of a Brahmin and approached Karna for arms on the battlefield. Karna smiled and gave away his gold armor and gold earrings, his sole protection. In return, Indra gifted him with the Vajrayudha, the thunderbolt weapon of Indra, which Karna used against Bhima's son Ghatotkach in the war. Karna commanded the Kaurava army after the death of Bhishma and Dronacharya, for 2 days and met his death in a fight with Arjuna. Kripacharya, son of Maharishi Sharadvan, was an experienced master of the science of archery. His name Kripa came due to his being brought up by King Shantanu. Kripa meaning mercy. And his sister was called Kripi, who married Dronacharya. Kripacharya lived long after the Kurukshetra war, for he was said to be a Chiranjeevi, one of the immortals. He is still alive on earth. Ashwathama, son of Dronacharya, was a great Maharati and was cursed by Krishna to roam the earth as an immortal until such time as the age of Dwapara Yuga ended. Vikarna was one of the 100 sons of the blind king Dhritarashtra and was a virtuous soul who was said to have been the only one in the royal assembly to object to the disrobing of Draupadi. Bhurishwara, son of Somadatta, grandson of King Shantanu's elder brother, Bahalika, was a great Maharati who met his end in the hands of Satyaki. All these are names that Duryodhana took while pointing out to Dronacharya that his army too contained brave men. Shloka 9. Anye cha bahava shura madarte tyakta jivitaha nana shastra praharanas sarve yuddha visharadaha. And there are many other heroes equipped with various weapons and missiles who have staked their lives for me, all skilled in warfare. Duryodhana cleverly named the commanders of the Kaurava army and then went on to mention the other warriors equally adept in warfare who have staked their lives in the Kurukshetra war. Shloka 10. Aparyaptan tadasmakam balam bhishmabhirakshitam parayaptan tvidame balam bhimabhirakshitam. This army of ours, fully protected by Bhishma, is unconquerable, while that army of theirs, guarded in every way by Bhima, is easy to conquer. Duryodhana boosts the confidence levels of his men by comparing the two armies and pointing out that while the Kaurava army is fully protected by the unconquerable Bhishma, the Pandava army has only Bhima as a guard. Shloka 11. Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yata bhagamavastitaha Bhishmameva virakshantu bhavantas sarva evahi. Therefore, stationed in your respective positions on all fronts, do you all guard Bhishma in particular, on all sides. The great warrior Bhishma is fully capable of protecting himself and others in the war. But the reason Duryodhana instructs others to guard Bhishma from all sides is because Bhishma announced that Drupada's son Shikhandi, born a girl, was now a man after receiving a boon from a celestial entity. Therefore, Bhishma will not raise arms against Shikhandi, whom he still considers female, because it goes against a chivalrous duties. Therefore, Duryodhana cautions the generals of his army to maintain respective battle positions with their utmost strength and to be alert to the presence of Shikhandi anywhere near Bhishma. Shloka 12. Tasye sanjanayan harsham guru vriddha pitamahaha Sinhanadam vinadyochaish Shankan dadmau pratapavan. The grand old man of the Kaurava race, their glorious grand uncle Bhishma, cheering up Duryodhana, roared terribly like a lion and blew his conch. Bhishma, the eldest of the Kuru dynasty, was accorded the highest honors and great respect, not just because he was the grand uncle of the Kauravas and the Pandavas, but that he was a magnificent and grand example of a great warrior. Bhishma noted the desperation in Duryodhana as he used transparent tactics to inspire and encourage his warriors. And so Bhishma took it upon himself to sound the carrion call and roared like a lion and blew his conch. Shloka 13. Tata shankakscha bhairyascha Panavanakaghomukaha Sahasaivaabhyahanyantan Sashabdastumulo bhavat. Then conches, kettle drums, tabors, drums, and trumpets blared forth in unison, and the noise was tumultuous. When Bhishma announced the commencement of the war, the warriors went on high alert, and suddenly, filled with hope and eager to charge and battle ready, they blew their own conches and various other instruments like drums, trumpets, and other instruments of martial merit. The point to note here is that in this time period, it is these instruments that served as communication channels. A trumpet here, a conch shell there, a drum elsewhere, is the way commanders commandeered the army and passed on important information regarding assembling in battle formations, where to attack, from which direction to attack, when to attack, and also disbanding and forming new battle arrays. The sounding of these instruments at one and the same time pierced the skies and echoed throughout the region, producing the most ominous note. Om Yogesham Satchidanandam Vasudevang Rajapriyam धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णो वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णो वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् ॐ श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु।